Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Agnelina and today I'm here with my 9th knitting podcast episode. I am Lithuanian, currently living in Norway, in Trondheim. I'm here with my fiancé and we have two lovely chinchillas. In this knitting podcast episodes, I usually talk about my knitting journey, what I recently finished, what I'm working on. Sometimes if I share my acquisitions or future plans, and sometimes I include other crafts too. So hopefully that sounds interesting to you. And let's move on with my first finished object is this little teddy bear. I improvised it myself. It is crochet item. Is it something? Ooh. No. What are you doing? Fly away, fly away. Yes, first time I'm filming outside, so I'm so sorry if there is some distractions like a bee attacking me or the wind moving you a little bit more, but hopefully it will be decent quality. So I improvise her, and this is my just second little teddy bear and maybe my 5th ever Amigurumi project, so it is totally not perfect. I learned a lot from it, but I think it went charming. But when I stuffed her body, I felt like it looked a little bit too big in comparison with head. At least, it looks more charming than, huge head, huge eyes, and a smaller body. So I decided to knit her today a dress. I started it multiple times. At first I was thinking about doing a more raglan style, or just do like a neckline and then leave just armholes and whatever, but I ended up doing like this. I crochet a strap, single crochet line, and then I started knitting from it, and then I cast it on after the arms, cast it on leftover stitches, but I overestimated it, so then I have to go back and with crochet stitch I collected it, take it a little bit more because it was way too loose and doesn't look nice. But now I think it looks a little bit too like old times. For the old ladies, I don't know, in 1800s, whatever, they're wearing those, puffy, padded, ass thingies, so that dress would go more in the back. So that reminds me, but yeah, she looks charming, and it could be fun for a kid if she will ever be a gift for a kid. It would be fun to undress, dress, and maybe have more clothing. I was thinking of making more clothes, but I decided that maybe just keep it as it is. My plan is to give her as a gift to my friend who makes a compliment that my first teddy bear looked beautiful, and my first teddy bear is not on the shelf to be gifted. I decided that I want to keep it. I want to keep him for myself, but she can go. And I don't know if I mentioned, but her name is Villa, and her dress is made from the same yarn as this top. So they are both made from YarnArt Summer. It is 70% mercerized cotton, 30% viscose yarn, and mercerized cotton means that the cotton shouldn't grow. So that I quite liked about it. At first I knitted a normal top for myself, and then I was left with less than a half yarn, but still I think I used maybe 800 meters, so I have maybe 600 meters left. So I decided to knit a top. At first I cast it for myself, and I knew that that wouldn't be enough yarn to make another top, and I prefer have a little bit sleeve caps, because my mom was always screaming at me in the summertime that don't burn your shoulders, wear no tops with small sleeves. So now I feel like those are more appropriate clothing. And another thing why I was not into tops like this, tank tops, was that you form those triangles and then you have to cut yarn, and to fix mistakes you would need to tie the yarn again, and then you have a lot of things ends to weave in, and it's not that easy to frog back and fix some things. So I didn't like that idea the most, but I improvised this top and I think it went up charmingly. When I was in Lithuania visiting friends and family, I showed this top to my friend and she said that she wants it and she likes it more cropped, so this is why she's cropped. This top is cropped, and yeah, I plan to give her. I sent her a message asking, what length of the top she is liking. She never replied to that message. So yeah, hopefully it will be a good length. But since it is so cropped, I had enough yarn left over to, still play with making like toy clothing, and I still have quite some left, so I'm not sure what I will do. I don't like having like yarn leftovers. I was thinking maybe to keep it if she would want to it a bit longer, so I could go and fix it, but I will give it to her for Christmas. And maybe to make those grocery bags or whatever, like small produce bags. It may be interesting because in Lithuania now they pass a law that each plastic mini bags cost maybe 1 cent or something like that. So to keep in mind, people, that you need to reuse as much plastic and maybe invest in more durable things, more environmentally friendly. So maybe that could be a future project. Then the next thing I finished is this hat, is this Musselburgh type hat. I thought that I was genius because I picked up this yarn, and I'm not sure if you can see because it depends on the lighting or from which angle it is. I feel like now I can see, but I'm not sure if you see. But it has reflective thread. This is Viking Garn Reflex yarn. So it is woolen yarn with reflex thread, and I bought it online, and I didn't know how scratchy it is, and I cannot wear almost any woolen hats because they really, my forehead is so into feeling any scratchiness at all. So I understood that if I want to knit hat and be comfortable, that I or people I gifting that hat would wear. So I decided to pair it with some plant-based yarn. So this is Viking Garn Bamboo. So it is, I think, 50% bamboo, 50% cotton. And at first I thought, oh, it's genius idea. When I started knitting it, and I started thinking about wool qualities, and then cotton bamboo yarn qualities, and what I learned on the internet, that this should grow and grow and grow, and this is maybe a good quality yarn and it will not grow that much. So even if they were written that they should have the same gauge on the same needle size, I went down for the inner layer needle size, and I cast it off, and knitted this crown maybe 4 or 5 times because it was not long enough, because it is shorter, and then when you stretch in the sides, it gets shorter, and I didn't want any wool touching forehead. So yeah, I was reknitting. I bought like 3 complex because I felt like it's genius idea. I should knit for myself, my boyfriend, and my brother, and it was Black Friday sale, so I bought it more. I didn't thought that it will be boring knitting 3 same hats, but I was thinking, oh, then if actually I need more yarn, I would just knit maybe 2 hats, not 3 hats. But it's a little bit boring. Gray color is also a little bit boring. Even this yarn, I feel like it's really good, and it has some variegation. I don't know if you can see, it's not like plain one single colored, but I felt like this color was a little bit more exciting. I don't know, maybe because it's shiny. I don't know. Do you like shiny things? Because shyness, I don't know, this looks, and this is really soft and nice to the touch. I love this. So I knitted a Musselburgh typed hat, but I a little bit changed how the crown looks like, because I didn't want it that cross. So I just increased, I started with 8 stitches and then increased close to each stitch into the same direction for all of them. So I think like this gives a little bit like sun form. And I finished up fully those 2 balls of this reflex yarn, and then I joined in a bamboo yarn, so I have no wool leftovers, which is nice because as I mentioned, I don't know usually what to do with wool. And this hat is for my boyfriend because he lost his hat. The last time he wore his winter hat, he I think left in the bus, so now I needed one of the hats. And actually I started, because it's really, I'm sorry, they are, yeah, I need so I started the second one. As I said, I want too many, and it's really good project on the go. Last time I knitted this, I was walking, and it's quite easy to knit it on the go, on the plane. So yeah, really good, nice, and I'm already preparing for the winter. It's a bit strange because sun is from that side, but from the window reflects from that side too, so lighting situation can feel strange. But let's move on my next knit. So I decided, or I felt like it was in the middle of July when I casted it on, and I was feeling like I still have to knit summer knits even if the weather was not that summery. I spent 2 last weeks of July in UK. I was with the work trip, so I was quite tired and didn't knit it as much as I wanted, but it was also quite rainy. It was around 22 maybe degrees of Celsius, I don't know, 20, 22, 24, and then I came back here in Norway. It's also not hot, maximum maybe 20 degrees, and most of the time rains. Today was raining, and I think a few hours later it should rain again. And so it's quite autumny feeling. So I was pushing more like, oh, nobody knits, you know, autumn stuff, so I should still, you know, cast on some summery things. And then I felt like I watched one of the YouTubers saying that she's starting with autumn knits, you know, you finish project and you want to, you know, have still time to wear it, and you know that it's time. And I felt like validated that I actually can, you know, put it down and start knitting autumn things. And I start really second doubting this knit. I'm not sure if I will frog it or continue. So this was my, you know, idea of, I don't know, improvisation raglan top. I had okay, I crochet a summer hat. It was like the idea was to crochet a sombrero hat, like with a little bit of that, you know, sunroof or whatever. Not like Fisher's hat, you know, not the short with the longer one, but this yarn, it was so soft and swooshy, and I didn't know that time that at least I would need, you know, to go down to the smaller hook size to make it as stiff as possible, so it was way too floppy, so I had to frog it. And this is a Mandarin Petit by Sandnes yarn, and this is, I feel, beautiful color. I love it, and I love this yarn. It feels so luxurious. So I bought more because I bought 2 balls to crochet this hat, and then I crocheted this hat, and last year I wore this hat, and I understood that I need to frog it and maybe repurpose this yarn. And then for, you know, for the top I will need more than 2 balls of the yarn, so I bought now 3 more balls. And I was really lucky because at that time it was 30% I think discount in the shop when I went. So then I picked it up, and it's almost exactly the same color, even if this hat was already in sun. I think it may got wet and dry in the sunshine, so I was expecting that some color differences could be. And I also wanted to crochet some it's something more interesting, to add some pattern. So I started this braids motif, like disappearing, not in the single columns, and I think it's interesting. It gives wait a minute, maybe I can find a nice spot to show you, or can move stitches around. So yeah, and I think it's beautiful design, but at the same time this is 3mm needles, and I'm just maybe I am knitting too loosely and maybe my gauge is too wide or whatever. Maybe it's too sheer or see-through. Actually, I can, you know, in a way, if some, you know, darker bra and, you know, skin color or whatever would be behind it. So I'm not sure. I'm so unsure. I'm so double questioning this repeat and etc. And those cables take quite a lot of time. And I was in the one moment, maybe I should frog everything, maybe move the neckline, maybe it's too loose or whatever, and then another moment it's quite nice, maybe I should keep it. So I decided to give it a little bit of time out, to put it aside for, I don't know, a few weeks, or even until next spring when I will be feeling again inspired to knit some more summery knits, to maybe pick up this, because the yarn is amazing. I have no regrets of buying more of it. This is my only acquisition, so it's not that much. I was a good girl. I didn't overbought it. Actually, when I was in UK, I was expecting to buy more yarn, but I didn't found in High Wycombe any good yarn shops, at least close by. I was living close to Hobbycraft store, and I saw in the internet, oh, they have some yarn. I went in, and all they had was acrylic, and they have a long, huge lines of yarn and just acrylic. And just, what the fuck? How it is possible to have just acrylic yarn? It's yeah, that was quite surprising for me somehow. But yeah, so I decided to give this knit a timeout, and I noticed that now I think it's similar stitch pattern was used for Minto sweater, and recently, maybe a week ago, I noticed that it was for Minto t-shirt Tuscol. And but I was not in the mood to knitting this, and that t-shirt has different construction. It is this was raglan construction I was working on, and that t-shirt was I think those you first knit back, then, you know, front, and, you know, join it around, pick up stitches for sleeves. I think something like that construction. And I think they had purl rows in between those columns, which should be, so it looks differently. But yeah, this is put on think about it and maybe return or not return later. So my next WIP, which feels like is moving quite quickly, I think I casted it on just last week, is this my cardigan improvisation. It's my first ever cardigan, and I decided to call it Adya cardigan. And I started knitting also a little bit of sleeve. I'm thinking of doing a balloon sleeves, because I just wanted to make sure that it has enough space for the sleeves, because it felt a little bit not maybe most spacious, but my calculations were right. It fits, it feels nice, and this yarn is Drops Cotton Merino, and it was written that it is, you should knit for 4mm needles, which I'm doing, but when I got it, I was expecting it to be thicker, more decay weight, and this goes closer to, I don't know, fingering or, I don't know, sports weight. Is it in between? So this feels a little bit not as thick as I expected. So when knitted with 4mm needles, it looks like it fills quite nicely all the fabric. But it feels really lightweight, really summery, and I was expecting, when I once wanted a cardigan, yes, I bought it last year. My mom borrowed me a black cardigan when I was in Lithuania. I was wearing blue dress and I didn't have what, you know, to put on with, and it was a little bit cold, or was expecting to be colder in the evening, so I borrowed it from her, and then I understood that yes, I should knit myself a black cardigan. So yeah, this pattern I had idea, and I bought yarn I think maybe in that Black Friday. So it was almost more than a year I have an idea. And the idea is just, you know, the simple V-neck cardigan with double knitted button band, and I think I will do a balloon sleeves. I think those would look nice and playful. And yeah, the idea was for a little bit more summery cardigan, but my summer cardigans is not the same as maybe people living in Italy summer cardigans. They need beach cover-ups, and it is, what is it? I never needed one in my life, because usually, yeah, even in Lithuania it wasn't that hot, or then, you know, you're not using those that much. And my mom was always saying that summers are short and that I don't need that many summer clothes. But yeah, so cardigan, I decided that it'll be so practical, and I started knitting it, and I was also imagining it, how I will wear it in winter time too, or especially last autumn I was feeling that, oh, I would wear more, maybe, you know, more of my dresses, you know, with pantyhose, and if I would have a cardigan to put on with, because it was too cold with them, but I own maybe 2 blazers and 0 cardigans. So this is missing spot in my wardrobe. But now I was thinking that, oh, it's maybe not warm enough for like winter months. Like it cannot be winter cardigan for me, at least, because my winters are usually colder. So in my future plans I was thinking that, for summer cardigan it's a little bit too black, so I was thinking not from this yarn, so I'm not frogging it, but this color summer cardigan, maybe with the same yarn. It depends how it feels, but in a way I cannot say anything about this yarn except that, you know, it's lighter than I was expecting, because I got faulty batch, so I guess it's supposed to be superwash, I think, merino with cotton, but as I understood, it is not as superwash as was intended to. Maybe they didn't put enough chemicals or whatever, so I got email and I got my money back. So this is free cardigan, not including all work time. But yeah, so I was thinking maybe to buy also sandy color, you know, to have, you know, for summer, not just black cardigan. I think that dark color suits me, so, and I always loved blue, so I think this will be totally useful for me. But I also could knit myself a sandy cardigan for the next year, or when next time I'm buying yarn, I can buy it. Yeah. And if I want a warmer cardigan, I was thinking maybe dark navy blue color would be nice, you know, maybe fluffier yarn, like really cozy for more winter months if I would knit. But yeah, first let me finish this one before buying sweater quantities for 2 more cardigans. So that's all of my knitting news. So that's all about my knitting, but I wanted to share a little bit about the summer. At least for me, it is so busy. I want to do more things, knit more things, film more things, but I travel every 2 to 3 weeks. At first we traveled to Rhode Island, and by the end of May, then I was at home for 2 weeks, then I was in Lithuania for 3 weeks and working from Lithuania and meeting my friends and family, so that was really intense time. Then for 2 weeks more at home, then I had work trip in UK for 2 weeks, and in UK I also planned to knit more, but and as I said, maybe search for yarn. But I was so tired after day in that loud office, sometimes the meetings like workshops, then afterwards, and maybe a lot of evenings were spent with colleagues, you know, some dinners or beer outings. I didn't find that much time to knit, and I was really tired. The only thing I managed to buy in that hobby craft shop in UK, which I live really close by, it was so amazing. I love the store, but I wish that they would have a better yarn, but that store was amazing. And I bought something for sewing. So in that store I bought my first 2 ever sewing patterns. I printed 2 free patterns and I sewed maybe 5 items, and more or half of those items were my freestyle patterns. So I just really wanted just to calm down of doing sometimes impossible, like I almost finished my corset top. I probably will show it in the next video, maybe with my black cardigan. It would be a nice maybe not the perfect match, but it will be nice to pair it out, to have some knitting and some sewn items. But yeah, after improvising corset, I just wanted to follow someone's pattern and that I wouldn't need to think and overthink, and then after some time start doubting and in the middle of project feel overwhelmed with what the hell I'm doing. So hopefully this will give me a piece, and this will give me base of, I don't know, more improvisations to change a pattern if I want to. So one of them is New Look and 6594 is this beautiful dress. I'm mostly interested in bay or sea view to sew. Sea view if I would get the right pattern, and my boyfriend thought that sea view is more beautiful, and V view I felt like it would be nice, and that may be my first, the one I will sew. And the next one was Simplicity 2247 pattern, and I also mostly interested in V view. I don't know if you can see it, hopefully. But yeah, it was nice, and I saw the really beautiful fabric in the hobbycraft of sunflower print and blue leaves, and it was perfectly balanced with a little bit white of the in between, so it wasn't plain. It was so beautiful, and I found that pattern later on. But they didn't have enough fabric to make a dress. I think they had maybe 1.5 meters left, and I just, oh, why? So of course, when I went to the city center and looking for maybe yarn, I didn't find just a set yarn, but I found a few fabrics I decided to buy. And it's so funny, I like wearing mostly single color clothing, but when I buy patterns, I'm somehow more interested in more interesting patterns, you know, something, you know, printed or whatever. Even if I prefer wearing simple ones, but when I buy fabrics, I really fell into it. So when I went to buy some fabric, I knew it. So I allow myself to buy if something feels as right as that sunflower print. They didn't have it. So I found this, and I thought that it is like best of both worlds, because it is, I don't know how to call it, but it is single color as I like, but it has some texture, which is really interesting. So I think it will be a beautiful dress. Hopefully it will look nice with my skin tone. And another fabric, so this was 100% cotton with those flower embroideries. And the next fabric was, oh, I started to forgotten. I don't have even, I think it was it 70% linen and 30% viscose, or reversed? I think it is like linen and viscose blend, and it felt really soft. I don't know, when I washed it, maybe it's not that soft anymore. But it had a nice drape, at least it had it, and it felt, yeah, quite flowy. So I decided to try to sew, I think we'll start maybe with this yarn to start with this fabric and this pattern. So I think it will be a beautiful match for the first dress. And for the second dress, I'm not sure, because both of these dresses, I think their skirts will be a little bit flared out, and this fabric has a really beautiful end, this beautiful edge, and I would like to use it because then I don't need to hem it. But to use it, I cannot cut a little bit circly, I have to cut straight lines. So I need either pleated skirt or gather skirt or add a ruffle with it. So yeah, it's giving me more things to think about. So this is why it won't be the first fabric of these two I will be using. So yeah, I thought maybe sew with this one, you know, give myself a creation high, and then, you know, maybe, you know, figure it out what I want to do with this one. I also, when I bought and I was looking into the fabrics for this dress, I imagined her to wearing it to the office, and I thought that it would be really beautiful in the teal color. I want this dress in teal color, and I think it will look nice with my black cardigan. So yeah, hopefully I will do it, because my storage space is not that big, and fabrics actually take some space. So yeah, wish me well. And this is for today's video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye! It's such a beautiful day. Surprising. I think the weather forecast was that it would be raining right now, and I was just, oh, did I will make it or not? This video, and I was just, I think I should edit here. An hour later.